So I think one of the broader themes, not just on taxes, is really the State of the Union and the response lay out the argument that the parties are going to be making over the next year as we head into the election. And I think on budgetary politics, you're actually starting to get this crystallization of the choices. I think the president put it well when he talked about how we can either have investments or Medicare and Social Security or support for the environment, or we can have tax cuts and extended tax cuts. And while you might differ with which things you would choose to point out are trade-offs, he was talking about the idea that we're going to have some kind of trade-off between doing some spending and investment or having tax cuts, that we can't do both. And I think Governor Daniels seemed to agree with that really there are these choices. We need to decide how much debt are we going to build up, how much deficit spending are we going to do, when we're going to take control of the long-term entitlement challenge. And so the governor talked a little bit about means testing some of the social safety net programs. And really this might be the big federal budget debate heading into the election.
It's a big philosophical debate, and I think that anyone from either party that is brave enough to talk about the trade-offs, that there is a hard choice there, that we can't have more of everything, it should be commended if they're being that open during an election year. But they'll all avoid specifics, of course. They may emphasize the need this year to talk about the need to cut spending in general or to raise taxes on high-income households or corporations. They'll find a way to talk about these things in a way that seems perfectly common sense, but they'll probably avoid specifics. And I think that there'll remain a big difference. I think Democrats tend to support a larger role of government than Republicans do. And so we will see the continued disagreement underneath whatever the political chatter is. The underlying disagreement is on the size and scope of government.
And leading up to the sequester and the trigger in 2013 and the expiration of the tax cuts, you really have this trade-off set up for right after the election, and whoever wins the presidency and whichever party remains in control or takes control of the House of Congress, you're going to have this. There's going to be large defense cuts. You have to decide how much do you want to keep in defense spending and what are you going to cut instead. And the same thing is going to happen with the tax code. Which tax cuts do you extend? Which do you allow expire? How much revenue do you get in to pay for those spending programs? So I think what Concord has always done is we've been going on the road on these fiscal solutions tours, and really it's about having this debate in the public sphere, and I think we can only hope that in the election we will have that honest debate about the solutions and the trade-offs instead of going off on tangents or maybe misdirection about where our spending priorities might be going.
I think all of us need to just keep encouraging the politicians to acknowledge the hard budget constraint. And so when they propose new programs or new tax cuts, that they're prepared to say how they're going to pay for them, because everyone knows now that it's not possible for us to keep spending or keep cutting taxes without giving up something somewhere else in the budget. So just talking openly about these issues whenever anything is specifically proposed, understand and recognize what we're going to have to give up to get that new wonderful program or tax cut.
All right, and to that end, we have a brochure on our website, an issue brief, if you will, about key questions to ask the candidates as we go into the election, and it has some specifics about that dialogue. So come to our website to see it.